and gentlemen, boys and girls, Hufflepuffs and Ravenclaws, welcome. Do you ever notice, Joe, that the Gryffindors
I do notice, Joe.
And the Slytherins, they get all the attention, right? Everybody's like, it's this huge. Everybody just shits all over the Ravenclaws, man. Like the smartest nerds in all of Hogwarts.
Well, that's because they're behind the scenes.
You think so? They're just the puppet masters?
Oh, yeah.
That's
Illuminati all the way.
Well, welcome everybody to the Rage Select Podcast. I am Jeff.
And I'm Joe.
Joe, you're on the podcast. I think this is the first time I've had somebody new on the podcast in a long time. So,
well, I got that new podcaster smell to me.
That it is. It smells a lot like cherries, though. Is it? You sure you haven't just been rubbing cherries all over you? Or
well, I mean, it was a day of the week, so yeah.
Okay. It's a wait. What is today? It's a Thursday, right?
It is. It's a sexy Thursday.
Cherry day, or were you just eating maraschino cherry flavored Lay's? Since they're basically Lay's now have to come in pretty much every flavor.
Oh yeah.
Just like the Hogwarts jelly beans, right? They've got like burnt dog hair and like expired clamato, and a lot of really esoteric stuff.
Well, I mean, my favorite Lay's flavor is Hopes and Dreams.
What is that? Is it like what does that taste like?
A little bit like chrysanthemum.
Ashes.
Yeah.
Just
wrapping
ashes.
No, it's before they're dashed.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, the pre-dashed dreams. Well, shit. All right. Well, I tell you what. You've never been on here before. We usually kind of do a little rundown before we get to the gaming news, but we're smack dab in the middle of Gamescom, which is the European E3.
Right.
So there's just like a metric. There's a literal dinosaur. I was trying to think of a classy word. Poop. Yeah, that's the classiest I can come up with. Of news to get into, but we're still going to do a little bit of this at the start.
So wait, a European E3, does that mean there's like diacritical marks everywhere? Like
like
you're
too smart for me. Oh, okay, like umlauts and everything's sideways or
and they spell it all dumb.
Dude, I want them to have like a full-on Russian E3 where they only play like Russian knockoffs.
Oh yeah,
like horrible Russian knockoffs of like Destiny and stuff like that. I would go to that E3. I want to go to the horrible crushing.
Hey, you
E3.
can go. You may not come back.
That's right. They could have it hosted by what's his name? The
Beauty.
No, the secrets guy that's in Russia. God,
Snowden?
Yes, Edward Snowden. Yeah, he could be the big host of Russian E3.
Yeah, and he could call it the Snowdown.
That's right. I actually felt really bad because we'll get to this in a second, but like the first thing that happened was it was like Gamescom, Microsoft's press briefing, and like here to introduce it, here is the head of Xbox Germany, German McGermanson, and he comes out and he says like 3 or 4 things in German, and it's got subtitles and everything, and then he's like, and here's Phil Spencer, and then the entire thing just turns into English for the entire rest of the show.
Man, I was hoping you were going to say, and then now at this time that we Euro dance.
Yeah, I wanted very angry German video game trailers. I mean, that was what I was looking forward to. But no, before we get into all that, because we've got plenty of that to do, let's talk. We got a little bit of real fast movie stuff to deal with. I understand that you've seen the cinematic masterpiece, which is the Fantastic Four movie of the year.
Yeah.
Better than the Dark Knight. Better than your favorite better than the Avengers. Right?
It's better than Mr. Holland's Opus.
Better than Gone with the Wind and Casablanca. Now, not just the greatest comic book movie, but the greatest actual movie of all time.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's basically the birth of a nation of the 21st century.
Okay, so it's incredibly racist and incredibly racist.
Actually, it kind of is in the way that it tries to not be.
Oh, really?
Johnny Storm is black and Papa Storm is black and Sue Storm is noticeably not black.
Wait a minute. Johnny Storm is black. Allow me to get on the internet and just freak the living shit out for 6 months.
Be very angry at make-believe characters.
I'm so angry. Wait, next you're going to be telling me there's a black Spider-Man.
No, I don't.
That couldn't possibly
unless
happen.
It's Don Cheadle.
Oh, okay. Well,
unfortunately, Donald Glover is going to get passed for that too.
Well, so you're saying that they over-explain the hell out of what's going on there?
Just in a very awkward way of you and Johnny are brother and sister? Yeah. I'm adopted. See, because I'm from Romania, and it was at a point where it's like we could spend this time like blowing stuff up, but instead we're trying to show how progressive we are and calling it out in a way that just makes it feel kind of icky.
Okay, I could see that,
and that's not the worst problem with the movie.
Oh, okay. Well, I tell you what. I mean, without spoilers, because I'm very anti-spoiler, right?
All right.
I really don't like it because I always look at spoilers as like that's a thing you can't take back, right? Now that the person's known a thing. But what is the worst part of Fantastic Four? By the way, I don't know if we've made it clear, but we're just totally joking with all that horse shit at the beginning.
Yeah,
apparently Fantastic Four, I haven't seen it yet, but you and everybody else that I know is just like huge steaming crap pile of epic proportions.
It sounds like a cop-out, but it's just horrible in every way.
Really?
Yeah, the acting is completely uninspired. The writing is just all over the place.
Okay.
The special effects look worse than the previous two movies.
Okay.
So it is without redemption. I can't even grudge watch it.
I wonder. I heard some people. I mean, I think I've seen some speculation online where people are like, "Yeah, it's so bad. Finally, Marvel's going to get the rights to Fantastic Four back." And it was like, but wasn't the second Fantastic Four movie? I mean, I actually kind of liked the first one. I thought it was dumb and it was fun and it was whatever.
Yeah, it was all right. It was what it's supposed to be.
The Rise of the Silver Surfer was just borderline unwatchable, stupid. They turned Galactus into a giant space fart, and I can never forgive them for that. But
isn't he though?
I don't know. He might have galactic space fart. That would have been the best part, is if like they fought the giant space fart, and then like at the end of the movie it pans out and it turns out that Galactus was just turned the opposite way, like eating Jupiter or something.
Gigantic butt cheeks.
Right, and that's what that came from.
Well, that's how nebulae actually reformed. It's just farts.
Just space flatulence. That's all it is. But they didn't. Well, I guess there wasn't anybody to revert the rights to after that happened. I don't know. What do you think that there's a chance that
I don't think it's a grand plot to get the rights back.
Well, do you think that the rights will go back? Do you think that do you think they'll just jealously hoard them? And
I think they have an idea that there's money attached to it, so they'll keep on to it as long as they think they can make money.
Okay.
Now there's a theory that they will try to placate Marvel by giving that back and then saying, "Hey, keep Deadpool and X-Men alone." Like
don't come for these.
Here's your tithe. Now go away. And that wouldn't be the worst idea in the world.
No. Speaking of which, I mean, the Deadpool trailer came out, and I got to tell you, the world that we live in is a soul sucking like a snake that's on fire that can literally bite you in your feelings. Because we live in a world where you will have a teaser for a teaser.
Yes.
Where they will put legitimately put out there, hey, in 5 days there's going to be a trailer, and it's just like, bitch, put the trailer out. We don't need to be, the trailer is for the thing. We don't need a thing for the thing for the thing. But that Deadpool teaser was actually legitimately pretty awesome.
I mean, it's an IP where it's just rife for messing with standard advertising.
The only thing, but then the actual trailer came out, and I think the thing that really kind of like took me, kind of caught me off guard in the trailer was that there seemed to be a fair amount of Ryan Reynolds actually being like a serious human being before he becomes Deadpool, and I don't know. I mean, there was like a whole well, I've got a family and I've got, cancer and I'm going to go in the Weapon X program. And I think all of my exposure to Deadpool has just been that he's a fucking crazy person maniac, not somebody who
just happened to have cancer.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's just that all that stuff turned him into a crazy person maniac. But then there's that part at the end of the trailer that got him sitting at the bar talking to somebody without his mask on. And I'm kind of like, that's not the impression that I've gotten from, I mean, granted, my exposure to Deadpool is the Deadpool game, and I think I might not still own it anymore, but I actually bought the first appearance of Deadpool back when he was a horrible Liefeld creation. I don't know. What did you think? Did you think the trailer looked good?
I thought it looked all right, but like Fantastic Four, I now trust zero trailers.
Did you really before? Did it really take this? Is this the point?
No, but at least you could get an idea of where it was going to head.
Sure. I keep saying that to gamers, right? Because we're the worst at that shit. Where people will come. There's actually a game that they showed some footage of, and I've seen a few people who are just like, it looks really good. I'm like, do you not remember that this is the sequel to one of the biggest letdowns? I mean, Aliens Colonial Marines had a great trailer, and it turns out it was not only just a cut together trailer, but also a lie on top of that. So I don't know. Yeah, you make a good point. It could be garbage, but I don't know. I just wonder whether anybody in Hollywood, where the amount of money that you're going to need to make a Deadpool movie with all the explosions is going to keep you from writing a script that's all fourth wall breaking, crazy, crazy nuts, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, that's where Ryan Reynolds really is their strength, because he is nimble on his mental feet.
Yeah.
And he is a Weisenheimer. So, lots of throwaways are probably going to be put into the final.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I see. I guess when I think about a Deadpool movie, I kind of want something like the last Nightmare on Elm Street movie, where it's like it's about them making a Deadpool movie, but then like Ryan Reynolds, actual person Ryan Reynolds, can't tell the difference between himself and the character of Deadpool anymore, and a kind of weird reality bending craziness. Like,
yeah, that'll be Deadpool 11.
Get David Lynch to direct it, and it just won't make any sense, and Deadpool will be very upset.
And he'll wear a snakeskin's coat.
Yeah, probably so. Well, enough of the jibba jabba, because we've only been at this for 10 minutes. We're already behind. Gamescom is going on right now, and before we get into the just pretty much gargantuanly gigantic amount of Gamescom news, Microsoft had themselves a press briefing where they showed. See, it was funny. You probably don't follow this stuff as much as I do, but at E3 this year, there were at least 3 properties from Microsoft that were conspicuously missing. Crackdown 3, Scalebound, and Quantum Break were all missing, and they said, "Oh, we're going to show these at Gamescom." And they did. So they started up, and like I said, the poor Gregor Bieler came out and made his intro in German, and then immediately handed over to Phil Spencer in his T-shirt, blazer, and blue jeans. God, that guy said I watch him talk, and he pauses for applause even when there's no applause.
Nice.
Like, he'll be like, "And this is the news part of the podcast." All right, let's no, you did perfectly, because you actually didn't clap. So it's like, and then he'll wait, and he'll just smile with this kind of like pasted on grin, and then he'll just continue on to whatever the next thing is.
Did he at least give finger guns?
No.
Oh, see, that's where he went wrong.
In fact, there was a really awkward point, and I don't remember who. I didn't note it down because I wasn't gonna harp on it. There's a really awkward point where one of the guys came out on stage, and I think this teleprompter broke down.
Mm-hmm.
Just had no idea what to do, what to say. I was just like, I'm sorry, hold on. So in the next generation, what we'll be doing is bringing a new, and it's. So when we did E3, John and I rolled down all these things, and we did them like really granularly in detail. I'm going to skip a lot of the horse shit and just say blah 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 when they like Windows 10, Xbox integration coming in November. So Phil Spencer comes out and blah blah blah. The first thing that they showed was a game that I really can't wait for, called Quantum Break. Now, have you ever played Max Payne or Alan Wake?
Yes.
Okay, those games are by Remedy, and Remedy's next game is this game called Quantum Break, and they announced it back at E3 a while back. They had this thing with this little kid. She's talking, and then there's like a giant ship that gets destroyed. But this is like. Remedy is taking their whole like TV show inside of a game thing to the next level, where they're actually producing like a TV show, and then the video game actually has Sean Ashmore, Aidan Gillen, who you might better know as Littlefinger. Sorry, not Middlefinger. He should be called Middlefinger.
Yeah.
Dominic Monaghan from X-Men. I think it was First Class, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Lance Reddick is in there as well. And they actually show a trailer for the TV show that I'm not going to go over in much detail. But the actual gameplay footage that they show for Quantum Break looks amazing. It's a third-person shooter, but it's got all of this, like, time warping mechanics to it, where the character can stop time and move around. And it reminds me a lot of this game that I played called Singularity. Have you ever played that?
No.
It's like I think it was one of the most underappreciated games of all time, where it's like you and this guy who go to this Russian research facility where they're doing all this time research. You get this gauntlet that'll let you rewind and stop time and stuff. But, this kind of just looks like a third-person Uncharted game, except when the time stuff kicks in. And when that stuff happens, it just looks incredible. Like, I'm really, really excited for this. Kind of the same way that I feel like Max Payne dealt with slow-mo and then Alan Wake dealt with light. It looks like this is dealing with kind of like time starting and stopping. You haven't actually seen this game before, have you? We're watching the trailer right now.
I'm just being blown away.
So the second part of the trailer, I don't know if this particular trailer that we're watching goes all the way to the end, but the second part actually shows that there's going to be parts of the game where time stops entirely, and then you're like platforming through a world that is that is just stopped. So in this one particular scene in this trailer, there's a car that's crashed through this gate, and the character is actually climbing up over it, but it's like it's mid-crash. It's just the time is completely stopped. And then on the other side of this, there's a whole part where they have these part of this whatever shadowy government organization this is, who have these guys with these backpacks that let them move
Time suits.
when time is stopped. No Jean-Claude Van Damme though.
No, not even in a little Jet Li.
Yeah. And but what I think is really interesting about this is that there's actually a second part of this fight that happens during this time stoppage, where like debris like isn't affected by the time stoppage, so it just kind of hangs in midair. And what's interesting is that they show that the backpacks on these enemies are what are keeping them from, or what are letting them move when time is stopped. And at one point, the main character blows up the backpack and actually stops that enemy in time. So now he's affected by this. He's not able to do this other stuff. So all in all, it just like. It looks like a fucking blast, man.
Yeah, but it brings up extreme temporal situations. So, say for instance, he's time stopped and then he sneezes too hard, and then he stays stuck in time stopped, and then essentially he's there for eternity, and nothing else ever happens in the universe,
and he's just sneezing forever.
He's actually stuck mid sneeze.
I think what would be way worse than that is if he was frozen in time at the moment right before he was about to alleviate the tickle in his nose from that would drive you insane.
No, it would.
You stop me in time for like 20 minutes there, and I just come out like like
now it's time to murder.
I'd be the goddamn Joker. There's a second part here which is actually really interesting. That kind of where the main character, which I think is the Dominic Monaghan guy, is in like this warehouse that is kind of like fast forwarding through time, so you see all this stuff kind of like happening in fast motion. All this stuff is happening like in the game engine, and it just looks freaking dynamite.
And it looks more cohesive and interesting than the entire series of Lost.
Well, what doesn't look more cohesive? Oh, I'm so glad you're here, Joe. You know, Grant likes Lost, and I don't. So, yeah. So I think that Quantum Break, that's probably the thing. I'm glad they kicked off with that. It's probably, I'd have to look through the list, but it's probably the thing, the Microsoft exclusive game that I am most excited about.
Yeah, like, I'm saving up for a PS4, and now I'm thinking, crap, now I got to save up for an Xbox One.
Well, this is one of 3 games, and this isn't coming out until 2016. All 3 of the games that I listed off before aren't coming out until 2016. But this one definitely looks awesome, and this trailer doesn't go all the way there, but like then they have a whole thing where they have like a live action trailer for the episodes of the TV show that they're producing that's going to have the same actors, the same concept, kind of, and what do they say? The game is going to be about the heroes. The TV show is going to be about the villains.
There we go.
And I'm like, that sounds incredible, right? Like that way you can have, just this. It seems like it's been forever that the entire world has been like, we're going to have this cross-media integration of like, here's the movie and here's the comic.
Well, let's live tweet it.
Yeah, but this actually seems like it could work because these guys have actually... It's like they've been building up to this. Between the fake TV shows of Max Payne and the way that TV was integrated in Alan Wake, it seems like this is kind of the final step. And the other thing that's worth noting, that you've seen in here is that the character models in here really, really look like the actors.
Yeah, yeah.
I think Battlefield 4 was the last time that I saw actors that have been digitized that well into a game. So I really hope that this doesn't end up... because they spent like 3 years hyping up Alan Wake, and then when it finally came out, I still haven't played it because I didn't have an Xbox 360 at the time, but I heard people were just like, it's good, it's good.
It's solid, it's solid. I'm not going to dump my girlfriend for it, but whatever.
Yeah. From there, we got a little bit of Crackdown 3, which honestly was weirdly like one of the least exciting things, I think, in here. Well, so last year at E3, they had the announcement for Crackdown. They had this giant trailer where like a bunch of people were setting up this really convoluted thing to blow up this tower. And this wasn't really so much of a trailer as much as it was kind of like... it's a little bit of a sizzle reel mixed with some dev diary stuff. Did you play any of the Crackdown games?
I did, and I was just thinking that he still got that really weird silhouette.
Oh,
his body. It's just odd.
Like everything kind of looks like a normal place except for the main character who's kind of he's got like 60. He's got early onset incredible syndrome.
Yeah,
like,
exactly. Because he's kind of stretchy looking, but he's also kind of beefy at the same time.
Yeah. So I don't really know that much about Crackdown. I've never played any of them, but they talk about like, oh, it's that Crackdown formula that you love. Isn't that just
shooting stuff and jumping?
Grand Theft Auto with superpowers, like
pretty much.
Kind of Saints Row. I mean, he's got a monster truck that transforms into a slightly different monster truck. Don't get me wrong. I'm not going to talk any shit about transforming monster trucks. I think the big focus of this, outside of, because a lot of this stuff was just trailer infographic nonsense, and I'm getting to the point now where I can barely even. It's like we were talking about Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
You can make any of this shit look good, right?
Yeah, you're not telling me anything.
Right. They talk about kind of taking down these networks of criminals and the way that you do it, and they've got a bunch of flashy lights. But at the very end, they actually have a thing where they're talking about multiplayer in this world where everything is destructible. Every single piece of the entire environment is just like coming apart and falling down. And they talk about actually using the cloud computation off of the Xbox One, like to do on-the-fly calculations to be able to give the game system more power when it comes to these explosions.
Is this going to be the finished look of the game?
There's a big slather thing across the bottom that says pre-alpha. It's probably indicative of it. The thing that caught my eye, though, was that it seemed like, and I can never tell whether their PR wording is like intentionally specific or not, but when they talk about the entire world will be destructible, they were talking about that very specifically when they were talking about the multiplayer aspect of the game.
Right.
So I have a feeling that it's not going to be some red faction, dragon towers over the moon bullshit. I don't know. Maybe it is going to be. But it seems like that'd be the sort of thing that would be much better in a smaller multiplayer arena where everything can be destroyed and you're like, okay, that's fine. But if you have an entire open world where anything can be destroyed at any time, it seems like, well, the first thing that we have to do, right, is get a rocket launcher and start working our way across the city one building at a time, because, there can't be criminals in this city where there's no city left to criminalize.
Right. Well, or I was thinking like, all right, let's destroy the planet.
Yeah, exactly. So that's Crackdown 3, and I don't really have a whole hell of a lot else to say about that because it just isn't that big of a trailer. Next up, they talked about the third one that was missing from E3, and that's Scalebound, which is the Hideki Kamiya Platinum Games joint with the dragon and the dude with the headphones.
Wait, the dragon has headphones, or he does?
No, the dude has headphones.
Oh man, Beats by Dre.
Yeah, they are, and it's weird. It's very weird because everything else in this entire world, you've got knights with armor, you've got dragons, you've got forests, you've got all kinds of stuff. But then the guy who's riding this dragon, which they actually said his name, Drew. Great, thanks, Drew. Fucking frat ass or whatever.
Dude, it's already reeking of what Final Fantasy has become.
Sort of, yeah. And it's like he's all sassy in this trailer and telling the dragon like,
"Ooh, and he got eczema."
Yeah, like use your words, dragon. And then they go to fight these guys, and he like makes sure to put his headphones on before he has a fight with these knights. I don't know. It's just very weird to me.
Wait, so is this one of those like music rhythm games? That would be hilarious.
Dance Dragolution. Yeah, that's Dance Dragon Revolution. I think, okay, I'm not sure, but I'm thinking from the way that this guy acts and from the dialogue and stuff, that it's going to be one of these things where, like, he was pulled here from another world, and now he's got to do a thing.
So is the voice like, yeah, oh, yeah.
No, it's much more like, kind of like 90s cool guy, kind of.
He slurms.
Yeah, he's totally Slurms McKenzie. But the actual action is interesting. It actually reminds me, it's a good comparison that you made, because it actually reminds me a lot of Final Fantasy 15, except that I can see that it's more direct hands-on action, right?
Right.
Like hit the button, swing a sword, do a thing.
And I love a good beat-em-ups.
Yeah, and this is Platinum. Those folks, they're good at beat-em-ups. The only thing that I was noticing while I was watching this is that it seems a lot slower than the normal Platinum games.
Yeah, that's true.
Like Bayonetta or Vanquish or something like that.
You got time to think.
Yeah. it's not just super twitchy. But what we're not, because we don't have any audio here, what you're not seeing is that it looks like you've got like a one-touch, like point at the map and say, go there, then you control the dragon and where it goes and what it's messing up. And it looks like there's a fair amount of, at least in this particular area, kind of different ways to get shit done. Like, excuse me. Towards the end of this trailer, you have this giant lizard,
The crab.
kind of rock crab.
It's a rock
insect.
lobster.
Yeah, it is a rock lobster. Holy shit! It wasn't a rock. I was trying looking for the entire time. Where this giant rock lobster has a fight with the giant dragon, and you're kind of like helping from the sidelines.
I like how you're fairly inconsequential because dragon.
Yeah, because the dragon is just whooping some ass. Well, actually, it's interesting because there's a part here towards the end where the guy throws a mine that looks like it came from Crackdown onto the head of this thing and then blows it up with an explodey arrow. And then he actually then goes like Super Saiyan and turns into some kind of Dragon Man or something.
Dragon Boy.
Which seems a lot more like something I would see in a Platinum Games game.
Yeah.
Some kind of crazy Dragon Man. He's got a dragon curse that's going to kill him in 4 days. We're going to get revenge on the Empire first or something.
But somehow he'll still find true love.
Well, yeah, of course. So, I don't know. I mean, it looks interesting. I definitely want to play it.
I'd definitely play through.
Oh yeah, and then at the very end, when they kill the rock lobster, he turns it into ice, and then that makes it turn into little red gems, which I assume are currency because it's a video game.
Yeah.
So it looks, like I said, it looks interesting. I was hoping, I think that it was going to be a little bit more snappy as part of the game's game. But I don't know, man. I'm a sucker for running around in the wilderness with a dragon.
Oh yeah, I mean,
as long as it's
love
voiced by
Dynasty Warriors, and that's just hitting people in the face.
Oh
so
yeah,
hitting people in the face with a dragon. That'll do.
I wonder how much. One of the things about games like this that have dragons, right, is since it's an open world game and you got a dragon, I kind of wonder: are you going to be able to get on the dragon at any point in time and fly wherever you want to, or are they going to kind of lock you into these battle?
Yeah, kind of like can you Panzer Dragoon that shit?
Yeah. So then at the very end, we've got the second, I think this was a reveal. There wasn't much information on this at first, where it looks like you can bring other people into your game. And these other characters that are coming in to this person's game have like vastly different weapons, vastly different character models, and vastly different dragons. So I have to wonder how much customization there's going to actually be in the game. Like, can you make your dragon look dramatically different? Can you customize your dragon to be
like a lowrider dragon?
Yeah, exactly. Put some drop it, put some neon around the edges, and
hashtag all dragon body types.
That's we don't stand for dragon body shaming.
No, we won't.
Here on Rage Select. All right, only rock lobster hate. That's the only.
Screw those rock lobsters.
Yep. All right, so from there, we're going to take a little bit of a break from the watching dramatic and fancy trailers to like there's just a bunch of shit being announced. Let's see. I don't know if you remember when the Xbox One was first being marketed, but it was all about TV, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And they actually have a thing now where you can do. I'm not entirely certain about this. I'm sorry, folks. I was able to drill into this, but a thing where you can use like a over-the-air HD antenna to watch TV on your Xbox. There was a feature that they had to add on there, right? And then this guy, Mike Ibarra from their tech division, came out and said that in November they're also going to be adding the ability to DVR over-the-air HD for free.
Huh, okay.
So if you've got an Xbox One, you can do all that stuff.
Yeah, that seems uncharacteristically gracious.
Well, they got to do something. I mean, at this point, like, it doesn't cost you anything. I mean, I don't know. Maybe there's an Xbox service, and you might have to have like Xbox Gold or something for that. But I don't know. I'll give it a shot. I don't actually have an HD antenna, but
oh man, you know how much Match Game 78 I would DVR?
Is that on network television? Is that on over the air?
Fox's 3Doc is a game show network, and it shows nothing but old game shows.
Fox has a network called 3Dog, like the guy in Fallout 3?
Like 3Doc, like 1Doc, 2Doc, 3Doc on digital channels now. They can carry more than one signal.
Okay.
So the second signal is for like old movies, and then the third one is for old game shows. And so the old game show one shows like What's My Line, old Dawson Family Feuds,
Oh,
Match
wow.
Game. Yeah.
So just like a sewage pipe for old garbage. Just
Yeah,
like
but it's
transported into your brain.
It's amazing if you've got something that you want to do and you want something on.
Right.
That's the way to do it.
The
And you're
old
not
match
gonna-
game.
Yeah.
Boom. You got it covered.
Charles Nelson Riley is going to always own something.
I think I'd be interested in seeing like how much old match game can I watch in one sitting.
You can watch a lot, and the amount of racism and sexism in it is fantastic.
It's pretty off the charts.
Oh yes.
Okay. Let's see. Blurgity. Oh yeah, that DVR thing will work in the background while you're playing video games, so you can do that at the same time you're playing video games. It's going to be subscription free. It's coming in 2016, not 2015. You can also use those recordings to stream to your Windows 10 devices, as long as you don't mind the fucking eye of Balmer on you at all times. It's, fuck you, Windows 10. They made a big deal throughout this entire conference of just being like, also Windows 10. Like, they came out and just being like, oh, yeah, we also have Windows 10, so we're also PC gamers. And it's just like, no, you're not really. But they're bringing out a chat pad for the Xbox One.
A chat pad?
It's a little keyboard that you click into the bottom of your controller so you can write messages and stuff on an actual keyboard. They've had them for previous things. I bought one and then never used it. Let's see. And then at E3, they announced all the Xbox 360 backwards compatibility for the Xbox One.
Oh, okay.
And here they announced that all future Xbox 360 games, games with gold, will be backwards compatible. So, if that doesn't mean anything to you, or to you listening at home, what that means is that if you have an Xbox Gold subscription, just like PlayStation Plus, you get a few free games every month. So you get some Xbox One games and some Xbox 360 games. What this means, though, is that all of the Xbox 360 games that they make free with their Games with Gold program are also going to work on your Xbox One.
Okay.
So you can basically double the amount of games you're getting each month to come back on your Xbox One. Backwards compatibility is hitting in November along with the chat pad. And then also in November, I don't know if this is the worst news I've ever heard. Probably not. The Fantastic Four being bad was probably pretty bad news. But they're putting Windows 10 on the Xbox One in November. So
Oh, boy.
whatever. All right, from there, we talked to Shannon Loftus, who basically is just blah, 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 Killer Instinct. Season 3 of Killer Instinct is coming in March of 2016, and Rash from Battletoads is now in the new Killer Instinct.
Hey, yeah, let's bring back Battletoads.
Oh, they're going to. It's only a matter of time. I'm going to go ahead and do this really, really, really fast. The ID at Xbox guy, Chris Charla, came out. ID at Xbox is like their indie games channel. Koji Igarashi came out to say that you're going to have cross-play between PC and Xbox One for Bloodstained, and there's a new character. There was a bunch of kind of miscellaneous garbage, like City Skylines is coming. Worms WMD is coming, looks an awful lot like previous Worms games. Ron Gilbert came out and and showed a trailer for Tumbleweed Park, which looks almost exactly like a Maniac Mansion game. I mean, almost precisely. Didn't really see anything, but whatever. The Xbox Early Access program is getting Sheltered, getting Ark, getting Rivals of Ether and Starbound. And then the last thing that they actually showed, but they did show one thing that was really interesting. And I've actually seen this before. We'll get back into the trailers here. Have you ever heard of a game called We Happy Few?
No, I have not.
This is a really interesting game, and I'm actually going to this shouldn't be able to the audio here shouldn't be coming through, but this is like this weird, it's like the 1960s.
Yeah, it kind of looked like hair from the poster.
And you're living in this world. This is, oh, okay. I don't know why there's no audio here, but whatever. Okay. But you're living in this weird 1960s. It reminds me an awful lot of The Prisoner, of this town where everybody's wearing like these white masks. And the thing is that everybody in this town, it's like one of these dystopian 60s, you're not allowed to be unhappy or the thought police will come for you. So the whole thing is about kind of trying to maintain the veneer that you're not like going crazy whilst trying to like steal food and undermine the organization and stuff like that. And it looks really cool. Like,
oh yeah, no, it's very mod in its setting with a little bit of Psychonauts kind of thrown in.
Yeah, I wanted to turn it up because the music for this trailer, you can't call it music, that the background audio for this trailer is this like really creepy guy saying this really aggressive version of London Bridge is falling down. But this game looks really interesting. I've also been through enough of these that I can tell you that it seems like one of those things that could go 50-50. Could be really interesting. Could end up just being like, oh, well, you made a really nice trailer, and the game itself is a lame fuck around. And but I watched the Kickstarter video for it. They talked about how like you can take your happy doses if you're not able to be perceived as happy enough, but if you take too many of them, then you game over. And
so it's kind of like Soma.
Yeah, sort of. I really like it. I even like their little title screen. Looks really interesting. So if you guys haven't heard of We Happy Few, I highly recommend going and checking out the trailer for that.
And so what is it going to be out for?
Xbox One.
There we go.
Yeah. Well, I think I got to check and see if it's coming. I think that they said, oh god damn it, I can't. Okay, I think that this might have been one of those ones where they were like console exclusive Xbox One, which may mean PC and Xbox One, because it is I believe it's a Kickstarter game, because I'm pretty sure I watched the Kickstarter video for it, which means it's probably going to be on PC, because it's probably being developed on PC right in the first place. Sorry, I couldn't say for sure. There was so much. We're like halfway through my list of horse shit here.
You know, just as a side, having a console that runs a desktop OS is not the worst idea in the world. It's just kind of this desktop OS that I kind of have a problem with.
Yeah, well, I mean, essentially the Xbox One and the PS4 are just PCs. That's all they are.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, they're like, yeah, we're gonna put Windows 10 on Xbox One. I kind of assumed it was already running some
modified
bastard variant of Windows 10 in the first place. I just hope that they don't. You know, we didn't talk about this, but like, what the hell are they think they're doing, man? Like, the news story came out of like what is all turned on by default, that it's like, we're going to share your files to our servers. We're going to turn on your web camera. Like, it was like installing spyware, the OS.
Right, yeah. The only thing missing was randomly giving creepy shoulder rubs.
Right. I guess maybe they're just trying to take the next step where they're like, all right, people have given up enough privacy that they're ready to just be like, yes, please watch everything that I do so that I only have to watch ads for things that I want. And it's just like, and then I read the description of like what it takes to create a profile that doesn't, because it's all opt out. Like by default, it's all opted into this, just like, and one of the opt-in parts of the EULA was like, we're doing this because state and local law enforcement wants us to be able to basically hand them a list of all the files that are on your hard drive whenever they want it. It's just like,
no, there's our civil liberties.
I mean, I don't know if we're still talking about We Happy Few, the video game.
Well, no, I think we kind of are in an overreaching government.
Anyway, yeah, I just hope that because they had talked early on about. Like, I thought they would have learned their lesson with the Xbox One when they were like, well, the Xbox One, we'll just turn the Kinect on and listen to your conversation. And then they'll be like, oh, he wants a pizza. We're just going to turn on the Xbox One and be like, hey, buddy, do you want a pizza? I got Domino's on the phone right now. And everybody was just like, ooh, no, creepy, fuck off, no, creepy. And now they're just like, okay, well, they didn't like on the Xbox One, so we're going to integrate it into Windows 10.
Well, no, Clippy didn't do so well the first time.
I knew Clippy he was a bad seed to begin with. He's always been watching. That's why I don't own any paper clips, is because I know that they're just minions for that little fucker. All right, so next up there was a so they brought this lady Jasmine Lawrence to pimp out Windows 10. We just spent a long time telling about why you shouldn't use Windows 10. They had a tech demo from Square that showed a bunch of like lighting and stuff, and as always, they do that stupid horseshit piece of garbage. Fuck you in your rectum, and I hope you die in a fire. Microsoft thing where they're like, the new version of DirectX that could do all these amazing graphical things. Unfortunately, you can't get it unless you get the new OS that spies on you.
Gotta get it.
Right. So
Goody got it.
They showed some DirectX 12 stuff from the Square Enix demo that was this lady, and she's got like wearing feathers, and they all looked really good. There's a smoke and lighting and particles and blah, blah, blah. I'm kind of getting to the point now where I don't even care.
No.
Like, the graphics all look really good. Or they look like We Happy Few, where they're stylized enough that I don't care.
Right.
It takes a real effort these days to have really shitty graphics. I mean, Scott Cawthorn over at the Five Nights at Freddy's, he's carrying that tradition very well. But for most AAA games, it's fine. I could tell when I was making my notes for this that I started writing the word yawn and I wrote, looks good, but what do you expect? And yada, yada, yada. And at the end, she's like, yeah, and go upgrade for free now. Yeah. There was only one thing that I was interested in, and it was one thing that, unfortunately, was the only thing that Microsoft could have said that would have been interesting to me, is that apparently Windows 10 has a built-in game DVR function to it.
Okay.
So you can just straight up do capture without, like, fraps or anything.
Right.
As somebody who makes video game videos for a living, I'm kind of interested in that, but not nearly interested enough.
No, come on, take the candy.
I've got another hard drive there. Maybe I can put Windows 10 on a hard drive that just has nothing on it.
Yeah.
And just freak them out. Just freak them the hell out. And just be like, what's on this hard drive? Nothing. I just installed Windows 10 and one game, and then I uninstall that one game and install another game, and just nothing.
Well, I got my invitation to Hogwarts yesterday when I booted my computer I use for working on stuff.
Oh.
And it's like, oh, it's now time for you to arrive at Windows 10. I'm like, no thanks.
You know what? I said this to somebody before. I would legitimately be willing to try Windows 10, but I know, and I don't know this for sure, so if it's not the case, somebody tell me so that I can do whatever, right? I'd be willing to try Windows 10, but I have a sneaking suspicion that when I opt into that program, that it's going to deactivate the key for Windows 7 or 8 that I'm using to opt into the Windows 10 program. If I could go back, I might give it a shot, but I'm not taking the leap because, as I've said before, they're like, hey, it'll be free for the first year. And it's like, okay, well, anybody who's actually ever been alive knows that your shit sucks for like a year and a half. Do you remember Windows ME or Vista or, XP when it originally launched?
Is 10 going to go off of a subscription model?
I don't think so.
Okay, so it's just the first year's free, and then you got to pay the $120 to.
No, I think that
Oh, you just mean it's going to be available for download and install for the first year.
I think what they're saying is that if you're willing to cash in your Windows 7 or Windows 8 key, you can have Windows 10 for free for the first year that it's out.
I wonder if it would work on my netbook, because I'm totally willing to try it out on my netbook.
God, I haven't heard that word. It took my mind like 3 minutes to figure out what's a netbook. Oh yeah, those shit.
That thing right before iPads.
Right. Couldn't have been more poorly timed. All right, well, we got to keep moving here. From that point, Jens Bergensen, the lead dev at Mojang, came out and basically said Minecraft is on Windows 10 and it's enhanced or something. Then they showed their new game Cobalt, which is some kind of 2D horseshit side scroller, and it just looks like fucking stupid. And I'm only getting through there because then my baby was rolled out, and the first actual honest-to-God gameplay for Dark Souls 3 was a thing, and it was awesome.
They really need to fuse Dark Souls and Katamari.
You shut your mouth.
No, I'm not going to shut my mouth. That's an amazing idea I just had.
What do?
You just roll up bad guys.
Okay. It's just really difficult as Katamari, where it's really, really difficult?
Yeah, I assume you play King of Cosmos to roll them up.
Okay. But this trailer started out with a little talking about the dark sign, which is good news. What was really awesome about this whole thing was that it was all gameplay. It looked great. It looked a lot more kind of like gothic and strange than Dark Souls 2 did. All of the design of like the enemies and stuff looked fantastic. I'm going to stick with my kind of postulate that this is a world kind of like at the end of a bunch of different regeneration cycles. And then there was actually some stuff where the way that the player is fighting is showing off some of the kind of new move sets that they're adding in there. And there's even a part where they show kind of like creation of a bonfire, which is what we're looking at right now, which is really interesting. But the biggest thing and the biggest kind of showcase of this was towards the end when all the crazy choir music comes in, and you just see all of these different like enemies and bosses and things. And they are freaking fantastic looking. Like it looks so great. Like it actually looks it looks like there's definitely been some bleed over from Bloodborne into Dark Souls. But I don't have any problem with that because as long as they have the items and the world and the lore, you can just give me whatever kind of Dark Souls you want. I do kind of hope though that this is like the end of the trilogy, right? Because I don't want them to just be making. I've seen
Dark
what
Souls
happens.
58.
Yeah, when Dark Souls 12 comes out, I don't want to play that one. I think 3 is fine. go make something else.
Well, what I love about this franchise is that it tells you, yeah, you're not good enough, and you know what? You're probably not.
Yeah. Well, no.
You just got to dig deep and try a little harder.
That's not true. There's no such thing as not good enough. You just got to get good, noob. Like, just quit whining and, like, be better at Dark Souls. That's the thing that I hate more than anything about the Dark Souls community is anytime anybody has any problem, or if you go into, like, YouTube comments, somebody's just like, I had a hard time with the boss of, like, 2-2, and they're just like, yeah, that's because you suck and you're terrible. You just quit whining and get better at the video game, stupid asshole. But yeah, this was like, man, just this big ass skull head and all this atmosphere, and it just it looks really, really good. So yep. Have you ever played? You haven't played any of the Soul series?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you have?
Yeah.
Which one? Oh my God, really? Somebody who's played the Dark Souls?
No, I started with the Demon Soul.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, Joe, you're my favorite person in the world.
That's why I'm saying, like, I know it's like, no, I'm probably not good enough, and you're right. It just means like, no, get better. But
That's right. Yeah.
but I like games that it's not going to coddle you ever.
Did you? Okay, so you've played all of them? Demon Souls, Dark Souls 2, Bloodborne?
I haven't played Dark Souls 2 or Bloodborne.
Okay. Great. Well, you then. I'm trying to decide. Dark Souls 2, like, is. Once you get over your disappointment, it's pretty good, but it's. I just don't think it's quite as good as OG Dark Souls, because like all of the kind of the craziness that you see in this trailer, like some of that is toned down in Dark Souls 2.
Okay.
It just isn't quite as memorable to me. It's not bad. It's definitely not bad. It's like one of those things where better than 90% of the games that are out there, not better than the original Dark Souls.
Okay,
so,
gotcha.
But yeah, I cannot wait for this shit. So then we went on to Homefront: The Revolution, and this is the one that I was talking about where people are like, man, this game looks sick, bro. And it's like, yeah, it's Homefront, though. Like, do you remember Homefront? Like, it was terrible. So there were two trailers. One was a CGI trailer, and the other one was a gameplay demo. The CGI trailer has this little kid walking out and basically giving his school report about how awesome North Korea is.
Yeah, they are.
And how, like, oh, you freed us from our mines. And it's all cut into, spliced in with this montage of, like, freedom fighters getting ready to blow a bunch of stuff up. And it's all, I mean, you know, you could just kind of close your eyes and see this. Like, I don't even have to really tell you what is going on here. Like, yeah, this guy, he's working at a robot plant or something. He steals a little thing, and then he gives it the resistance.
So it's totally not future Red Dawn?
It is. It is.
No, it's not.
It
Remember,
totally is.
it's fresh and hip.
So, yeah, this is stupid, and I think it's really trite and cliche. The actual gameplay demo was really interesting because it honestly looks a lot more like a Far Cry game than anything else to me.
Just real quick on the trailer, did they have some horseshit of like, this land is your
No,
land?
well, it was this kid giving this kind of like his little North Korean book report, right? And then it kind of was slowly oozing into okay, this is a terrible quality trailer. Kind of oozing just into the stuff. So this trailer starts out, I mean, it's definitely an open world. Like, you can see a little GTA style map, and there's like, they even have a little like detection meter thing that comes up, like if you get too close to like enemies or whatever.
This is totally Far Cry-y.
Yeah. So in this particular one, the dude's driving a motorcycle. He's going to get kind of close to the area where there's some guys, some freedom fighters fighting. He's going to use some. What was the Dirty Harry movie where there was little cars that blew up?
The Deadpool?
The Deadpool? Yeah, there you go. There's a whole thing where he drives this car over and blows up a bunch of people. From there, the actual shooting in the game looks really, really like a first-person shooter. But the similarities to Far Cry don't stop there, because there's actually a point where he actually does this like on-the-fly adding things to your weapon. I don't remember if that was in Far Cry or if I'm thinking of a different game.
I think that was something else.
I think it was something else. But anyway, it just looks. I mean, it doesn't look bad. It just looks like a first-person shooter.
Yeah, it's
game.
just like, but what is it that you're adding to the FPS conversation?
Well, here's the thing: is that oh, good. I'm glad that it just cross-faded over to this part of the demo. There's a little hacking mini game that the character does towards the end of this, and when he does it, it's like liberating an outpost in Far Cry where a bunch of no, honestly, like a bunch of blue, like your comrades show up in this area, and then from there it switches over and it does the exact thing that Far Cry does, where it shows you points of interest in the area. Like it actually does the zooming around the camera and then slowing down, like exactly like Far Cry does. So, hey, you know what? If they're gonna make Homefront into a Far Cry game, great. I hope that they realize that the reason that Far Cry games are so awesome is not because of these things, but because of like the bad guy and the characters and
and Blood Dragon
and the crazy tattoos, and yes, Blood Dragon as well. So this doesn't look bad, but I'm still giving Homefront. I'm keeping an eye on these motherfuckers.
Yeah.
So. Okay, we now have to start to kick this shit into overdrive because we're almost at the end of an hour, and I've got so many other things. So we're going to start getting a lot less descriptive about this stuff. All right. Some guy came out and talked about FIFA. I don't really care. Halo 5 Guardians, they did an announcement about that where they showed that basically they're splitting the multiplayer into Warzone, which is Halo 5 multiplayer with enemies and things in the thing. And then the second one was Arena, which looks like it's going to have a pretty dramatic esports focus. Now, I've never seen Halo as an esports thing, but like they brought out 2 commentators.
Okay.
And then they brought like the best European and the best American Halo players to 343 and had them play a series of matches, and then they were doing like replays with commentary over it.
Oh, that is awful.
It was actually pretty cool because it was like they had like all these little tools where you could like back it up and show like, oh, he's going to come out here.
If you come over here, Johnny, you can see the Master Chief shoot him in the face.
Yeah.
Oh, he's going to be limping that one off for a while.
He got shot in the face. But it seems like they're doing like they're really trying to, and I don't know if Halo has as big of an esports background. I just haven't seen it. I know that StarCraft and Dota do. I know the International is going on right now. Evo just got done, right? And I know that there's like the Quake, or there's some kind of FPS tournament, but I've never seen as much of that as I have the stuff that's more directly esports focused. But it seems like with this presentation, they're really trying to kick the esports thing into high gear. And it seems like it could be all right. There's also a Xbox One Halo-themed console that's coming. And then they're also having a Halo World Championship with $1 million prize, which seems like they're really
now I'm interested.
Really trying to kick that Halo esports thing into high gear. Dan Greenwald from Turn 10 came out and talked about Forza 6, and it was mostly all about how awesome or how realistic their rain driving is. And,
yeah, it is, boy.
And like I was like, that's the last thing in the world that I want is to just be like, hey, you know what? I'm already shitty at driving games. Now I can be realistically shitty when it's rainy outside in driving games. Like they brought in a guy that's a professional racer. It was like, and then we spent hundreds of hours talking with about what it's like to drive in the rain on all these different cars. Like,
yeah, it usually sucks.
Yeah. It's terrible. There was a Rainbow Six Siege trailer that just looked a lot like was putting up a bunch of things, breach and clear, boom, done. And then Brian Horton came out, did Rise of the Tomb Raider, and there was about a 10-minute thing for Rise of the Tomb Raider. It looks an awful lot like last year's Tomb Raider. They finally addressed my issue where it's not in the snow, which the previous 2 trailers have just been all snow and jumping around, and this was like sneaking around dudes and stabbing them with arrows and shooting them in the face and blowing stuff up.
Yeah.
I don't know why Lara is so upset with these men, but she's definitely working out her anger. And
well, we're seeing the forming of an icon.
Okay. Well, but I thought that was, at the end of the last Tomb Raider game, she stood up and the sun was in front of her. That's when you become an icon, right?
Well, I mean, the journey's never over. Maybe in the new Tomb Raider 3, she'll be stung by bees, and then her bosoms expand, and then she slowly turns into the original Tomb Raider Lara Croft, where she's just this mess of a human-like creature.
Okay, so when I was watching the development of the gameplay, nobody mentioned anything about bee tits. I'm going to say right now that's probably not a thing,
or they don't want you to know about it.
They're keeping it under wraps, like Kojima style. Okay, all right. Looks a lot like Tomb Raider. I don't really, not that much else to say. And then finally, last but not least, Bonnie Ross, the head of 343, came out and announced inexplicably that Halo Wars is coming back with Halo Wars 2.
Yes.
I mean, I'm sure that people fondly remember Halo Wars. Some people fondly remember Halo Wars, but some people fondly remember I don't know, pick something. Aliens, Colonial Marines, the original Watch Dogs. Pick anything, and people do that. I often thought, I never played Halo Wars, but I thought it was kind of remembered as kind of a piece of garbage, right?
That's what it looked like. That's why I passed on it.
The only thing I can say is that when they did their little CGI teaser, it didn't really mean anything to me because I haven't played the first Halo Wars. But at the end, or at the beginning of it, I did notice it was 343 Studios, and the second developer there was Creative Assembly, which is the guys that make the Total War franchise.
Okay.
So I'm like, okay, well, if somebody can put real-time strategy on a console and make it good,
Go for it.
Maybe these guys can, right?
Big shot.
So that was Microsoft, and we're now at like a full-on goddamn hour. Holy shit. All right. Next up, I know that you bitches like the Battlefront. There was a trailer. Joe, are you excited for Star Wars Battlefront 3, or they're just calling it Battlefront now?
Not particularly. I mean, like I'm more of a space flight simulator pow kind of guy.
So like Elite Dangerous and Star Citizen and that kind of thing? Or?
No, I mean like X-Wing versus TIE Fighter.
Ah, well, see, then this trailer should interest you because the announcement here was that in addition to the ground combat stuff, they're going to have, what was it? It was like 20 on 20, kind of like Rogue Squadron-esque, like in the atmosphere, like X-Wing versus TIE Fighter kind of combat, where you got a bunch of X-Wings flying around shooting TIE Fighters.
Yeah, okay, yeah. I was going to say I'd rather prefer cockpit view, though.
Yeah, but there's cockpit view. And I think this is something, I know that there was a lot of people, I feel like on the website, that were saying that they were upset that there wasn't this isn't what they wanted. They wanted mixed arms, like in Battlefield, where you have tanks and X-Wings and ground combat all happening at the same time, whereas this seems to be very specifically just like a separate mode from the ground combat.
Yeah, but
mode.
I mean, there also is like computers can only do so much.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of graphics going on and a lot of objects that are doing things independently.
You're new here, Joe, but I'm going to call a little BS on that because if Battlefield 4 can have airplanes, helicopters, and tanks all at the same time, then Star Wars Battlefront can have X-Wings, TIE Fighters.
Well, maybe so, and maybe it takes another 2 years of development.
Maybe so, but I don't know. This trailer looked pretty good, and then like they show that they have hero units, right? Because in the ground war, you can be like Darth Vader or Luke Skywalker, and here the Millennium Falcon pops out and starts blowing shit up.
Should a frigate really be engaging in battle that much?
No, not really. And then at the very end, holy shit, it's the slave one, because why not? So I don't know. I still think Battlefront looks pretty cool. I'm going to be interested in playing it. I'm not willing to write it off just yet. Next up, I'm going to really, really briefly. There was a Metal Gear 5 Phantom Pain trailer, which I'm not going to go over. But there was also a Metal Gear Phantom Pain. It was like another one of these gigantic ass like 30-minute videos where they drive around the mother base and look at a bunch of stuff. I highly recommend everybody go check it out because it looks really interesting.
I really used to love the Metal Gear series.
Not anymore?
No.
Where'd you stop?
When I had to keep playing a movie.
Come on. Three wasn't nearly that bad. 4 had those big cutscenes in it, but I don't know. I just recently got back into playing Peace Walker because I watched this and I just couldn't stand it. But I think that the most interesting part of this was the last part of it, which I might be able to skip to. So you got your mother base, right, which is like your big thing, and then as you can extend your base into like these spokes, right, where you have these smaller bases that you can go to. But the thing with the smaller bases is that these smaller, they're called forward operating something. These forward operating posts can essentially be Dark Souls style invaded by other people to steal your supplies. And so the back half of this is them showing. Let me see if I can get to some actual action parts of it. It's actually really interesting. Everybody should go watch it. You don't actually have to do this stuff to play the game, but nope, that's.
Oh, he's got a little ponytail.
Oh yeah, that's. Where we go? Here we go. It's from around here, where you can like set up your own base. And you can set defenses. You can set like drones and stuff like that, and then you basically have another person who comes on there and like is trying to solid snake it up on your platform. trying to steal all of your shit. And so, like, in the previous game, there's this Fulton system where you put these balloons on stuff and it, like, whips them up in the air, right? So if that happens, you can, like, pop those balloons to keep them from taking your stuff. And, like, your AI guys will engage with the enemy, and you can use, like, a whole bunch of tricks. Like, here, this is towards the end of the fight. This guy's about to throw a decoy, which is one of these little balloon guys, and it's set up so that when the enemy shoots it, it'll electrocute him. So when he sees it and shoots it, then it stuns this guy, and then he gets taken down and by the other player. I don't know. It seems like a really interesting little addition to the series. Like, I think that that's really silly. Sorry, they announced that there's an upgrade to the balloon system that takes them through a wormhole instead of up into the sky.
Like you do.
But I think this looks really, really interesting. I really like the amount of things that looks like they're coming in the Phantom Pain, just like a crap load of crap, which is great. Some more good news about the Phantom Pain, about Metal Gear Solid 5. The PC version was going to be coming out like 15 days after the console versions. They moved it back to the point where they're all coming out at the same time.
All right.
They did, though, say that the multiplayer is going to be delayed until October, so they're pulling a Rockstar where the Metal Gear Online component is going to be moved to October. And that's all the good news that I have. I also have some really shitty news about Konami, and I really wish that we had some more time to talk about this. There was a report that came out from this, I think it's a Japanese newspaper report from this Nikkei, I believe, that basically says that, like, working at Konami is just like, it's like Shitsville Incorporated, man.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
yeah, no, there's no reason why it wouldn't be.
Well, but it's like worse than even we knew. Like, they make everybody clock out, and if you come back late from lunch, they, like, get on the loudspeaker and publicly shame you to all of your coworkers. They, like, rotate out your email address, or they won't even give people outside email addresses to keep them from interacting with people. The most interesting things, though, there's cameras in the office corridors to watch their employees to make sure they're not doing anything but work. The most interesting thing that I thought I read in the entire thing was that, like, if you're a game producer and Konami decides that you're screwing up or you're doing something badly, they'll, like, demote you to, like, a janitor at one of their health clubs. Like, not like you're now just going to be a QA guy, right? But, like, they'll give you a cleaning toilets job in a whole different division of Konami as punishment for fucking up.
Well, I mean, but that's part of why globalization is good, because, you know, the super neurotic Japanese work model used to be useful because that's all they had. But now that you can see how people get treated elsewhere in the world, you're like, I could just quit too.
Well, you know what? I think that this is a perfect example of, you know, I've been talking with Nick and with Kevin, with a few other people about, like, everybody who's just like, what the fuck is going on with Kojima and Konami? Like, what is going on in there? Well, after reading this, it's like, we'll never know, because there was the last thing on this listing was that Konami watched somebody who left the company put up a Facebook post saying, like, hey, I left the company and blah, 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 blah. And Konami watched that Facebook post, and anybody who liked that Facebook post got, like, reorged to a different department to get them away so that they couldn't collaborate. It's just some, like, weird fucking 1984 shit, right?
Well,
like,
where do you think a lot of the inspiration for Metal Gear came from?
Maybe that's what it is. Just all this paranoid secrecy, right? It wasn't a commentary on society. It was just what it was like to work at Konami, for fuck's sake. All right, so we got some more trailers here. There was 5 minutes. Oh god, we got to kick this into high gear. 5 minutes of Mirror's Edge Catalyst, which is a prequel to Mirror's Edge. I got to say that the running and the jumping and the flipping and the parkouring and stuff looks pretty much exactly like. Well, not exactly. It's got a better shading model than the last Mirror's Edge, but
yeah, it
looks very similar. I'm gonna play it. I mean, I like the original Mirror's Edge, and if they have some actual legit cutscenes and not that fucking eSurance bullshit, then I'll be more than happy. They do this one really interesting thing in this little gameplay demo where they hide a transition really in an interesting way, where the character is going to, like, this faraway building, and then they just run and jump and roll, and then they're like, here, you can actually see this. I think this is really interesting. So the character's going to this building that's way far away, and they don't want to show them running all the way there. So instead, Faith runs, jumps, and then when she tucks and rolls, it's like, oh, you're somewhere else entirely.
Wah.
Which I had to like rewind. But anyway, Mirror's Edge Catalyst looks good. I don't know much that I can say about it. I'm not super excited for it, but then I don't know. Are you super excited for Mirror's Edge?
Not particularly. Like I didn't hate the thing. I don't know. The fascination with parkour, I just don't care.
It just I hope that there are multiple easily recognizable routes through areas, because in Mirror's Edge 1 it just felt like you were just memorizing the perfect way.
Exactly.
Right? And nothing makes you feel less like a parkour badass than running into a wall and coming to a full stop.
Being on a track.
Yep. So in this particular trailer, there's a little story here where some like Sam Fisher dude is in this office with these people, and he's stealing some stuff, and at the end Faith grabs it. And there's actually a really gripping kind of escape sequence at the end where Faith is like kicking guys and punching guys, and there's so much breaking neon glass that it kind of gives me a headache to even look at. But there's some like crashing through windows. It's good that this entire world is made out of windows.
Yes, no, it's very helpful.
So that when the shit starts, everything just can just shatter into a million goddamn pieces. Like literally, it's like people who live in glass houses should not do parkour. Right? That's what I'm getting out of this. But yeah, Mirror's Edge Catalyst looks pretty good. Let's see. Next up, Mafia 3 got its trailer, and it's an interesting trailer. I don't know. Are you a fan of the Mafia titles?
I like the first one. I think there was a lot of silliness in it, and I didn't play the second one.
Okay. Well, this is the main character of this. I believe it's kind of hard to tell from the lighting model, but he's an African American guy who like went to Vietnam and came back, and like then the mob was trying to like run his family out of town or something. And so this is a CGI trailer, and it's all the House of the Rising Sun playing in the background. It looks like he's kind of like he was like Left 4 Dead and they killed my family. And then at the very end, it kind of shows that he's got a mob guy kind of like tied up in his back seat. They take him out to the swamps, and he's got like a very 60s crew with him. Let's see if I can't find these are the guys that...
Hey, it's Petey, and then Tommy Walnuts, and then Coffee.
Yeah. And I don't know. This isn't showing any gameplay, but looks cool. I hope that they do. I think that Mafia is a great jumping off point for a video game. Like,
it sets up clearly definable people that it's less objectionable to shoot them.
yeah, and there's a lot of violence involved, so it's not a hard. You don't have to give your character any like Nathan Drake motivation about why you shoot people in the face. It's like, nah, I'm just gonna shoot them all in the face. Hey, so yeah, Mafia 3. Next trailer. God, so many trailers. The new Final Fantasy 15 trailer has virtually nothing in it. There's like cars and dogs and a guy who's holding his little kid on his shoulder. This scene with this guy holding this kid on his shoulder in the rain.
Is this real time?
Oh yeah, this is a game engine, but it goes on for like 2 minutes, I think, or something. Like he tells his kid, like, "Oh, I'll always love you," and so this is more of the story of what's actually happening in Final Fantasy 15. It's the kid that you are, like your dad was the king of.
Your dad had a Tesla.
Yeah, and your dad was Elon Musk, right? And then you're following in his footsteps.
Like, no, I can make SpaceX work.
His little 4-year-old hoodie that he's got going on there. Also, I don't know how he's sleeping. It's like this. Okay, this guy is holding this little kid who's like taking a nap on his shoulder. Right? It is raining, and the dad is wearing like armor. And at one point, the kid just shoves his face away. He's like, "Fuck off." The only thing that's kind of cool is at the very end of this, it pans back to show that there's some like giant freaking mecha materia bullshit going on in the background.
Oh yeah, it's weapon.
Yeah. So not a whole lot, but there was actually a second report that says that Final Fantasy 15 is about 65% done.
Okay.
There was a third report out that says that it's probably going to be next year before it comes out. So.
Is it going to let you do anything?
Yeah. No, I played the demo. You run around and have a Coleman campfire, and
sweet.
Yeah, and cook fried monsters and then eat them. And
Yeah, that poster kind of makes it look like the Great American Road Trip.
yeah, I really think they've been doubling down on that, and I think they really need to pull back from that a little bit because all it is this douchebag and his four bros. It's like Japanese entourage just driving around.
Oh, talking turtle.
And stopping in the wilderness and then going out and hunting monsters for whatever reason.
For grinding.
Yeah, yeah. Well, so they can give Tits McGee the money to fix their car. That was what the demo was.
Oh, gotcha.
Daisy Dukes is fixing their car, and they've got to go hunt down a behemoth in order to pay for the repairs. Because that seems like a 1-to-1, right?
Yeah. No, that's a system for an economy.
Hunt a 4-story monster that wants to destroy everything, and then I'll replace your carburetor. So, hey. Let's see. I think we're finally on to, like, not trailer news. Square Enix looks like they're considering, but they have not yet confirmed localization of the new Dragon Quest games that they announced last week. Pursuant to your comment earlier, Dynasty Warriors is making an Attack on Titan game.
Oh, yes. All right. Okay.
Omega Force. They don't actually have anything in this trailer, so it's not a shame that it's not playing. It's just dude, kind of semi-cell shaded looking Attack on Titan dude screaming
Eren Yeager
going towards giant Titan guy. And it won't play because there we go.
That's a good look.
Oh, good Aflac commercial. That's good. There's been some speculation that this might actually be a reverse Dynasty Warriors game where you control the like millions of dudes against the one Titan that is blowing them all up. Because I don't know how it would work otherwise.
Playing as a Titan, it's kind of a game ender. It's kind of like
actually,
right,
you know what?
Everybody.
No, that actually makes a perfect amount of sense because that's exactly what the Dynasty Warriors games are, right? Is you one person just killing hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of other people.
Have you watched Attack on Titan?
Yes, I have.
Okay, so then at some point he's probably gonna.
Okay, I could see that, but I just wonder before that how you're going to deal with. I mean, I don't know. I would love for the Omega Force guys to make a game that was where you didn't just cut down millions of stupid-headed AI guys that don't know. I mean, I turned Dynasty Warriors Gundam 2 up to, like, super hard difficulty, and it was like, it's not really even all that difficult. I don't know. Attack on Titan fans, I feel like it's weird that there's so many properties, especially in anime, like Attack on Titan, like say Cowboy Bebop, right? I know that I show my age every time I talk about anime or like Ghost in the Shell. This seems like they would make perfect video games that they really haven't made that many video games.
Yeah, but they have like the Ghost in the Shell game for the PlayStation where you were in a Tachikoma was fantastic.
Yeah, but that's not what I don't want to be in fucking Tachikoma.
Well, that's your damage.
That's not just me. I'm not the only person who's like, I don't want to just drive a Tachikoma in my Ghost in the Shell.
All right, so like Gundam Side Story for the Dreamcast was, in my opinion, the perfect Gundam game because it was in cockpit Gundam.
Okay. Well, I mean, I thought that Federation versus Xeon on the PlayStation 2 was one of the better Gundam games I played because it was everything piloted a little bit differently and it actually kind of went through a lot of the different storylines. Like, I think that there's stuff out there. It's like I don't understand why with all the geeky movie properties that now that we finally have some really decent geek tie-in comic book properties that we're not seeing, like, it boggles my mind that Marvel hasn't opened a division to make like quality games based on these movies. I just saw Ant-Man. That would make a perfect fucking video game.
It
would make a perfect video game, right? You can make it a puzzle game where you got to learn how to use your size to do stuff. You can make it a combat game where you've got combos where you like punch and then get small and then get big, and
Well, and you can press the Paul Rudd just looks adorable button.
Yeah, yeah. You could even have all the cutscenes just narrated by what's his name, Carlos Pena. Is that?
I think so. Yeah.
In his style.
The funny guy.
That was the best part of that entire movie was whenever he was doing stuff. Anyway, Attack on Titan fans, there's going to be an Attack on Titan game. Next up, some former BioWare developers are developing a new RPG, and it's on Kickstarter right now. And I don't pull up all the Kickstarters, but I like to pull up Kickstarters that I think are kind of interesting. So the bullet points on this one say on their Kickstarter say, okay, so it's a story of two women, story of sisterhood. And then it says soul style combat, which is the reason that we're talking about this. They want to engage in real time combat where your wits matter as much as your reflexes and puzzle solving. But what the crazy thing is that you guys, you should go watch this Kickstarter video. It's so fucking weird. Like, this woman rides her bike up, and then this lady rides her Jeep up to this game store, and she like walks up. There's this taller blonde lady and this like shorter brunette lady, and they walk up.
Yeah, are they at Wonko's?
She walks up. The tall blonde lady walks up to the other lady. And she's like, "Hey, do you have a problem with me?" Because the other girl like rides her bike in front of her Jeep or something, and she's like, "No, I'm just looking for a game." And then they start like this weird conversation where it's almost like they're doing a skit in a game store where they're like, you know, Jane, I really miss back when RPGs were good. I know what you mean, Sarah. Back when story mattered and my choices really affected the world.
And lines weren't stilted.
That's right. And it's like, well, no, they're actually not stilted. They're fine. It's just what they're saying is crazy. And then they're like, what if there was a game where it was like Dark Souls style combat, and it's like, yeah, that sounds cool, but it'd have to be like two ladies who helped each other out, and like, oh yeah, with good puzzles and good writing. And in the background of this scene that they're doing, their improv group scene, right? There's like this table full of game developers that are just rapidly, sweatily
and
typing,
at play. Yeah.
Right, all of their ideas down, and then when they leave, the game developers are like, we should make that game.
Yeah, we're totally going to do it, bro.
We're going to make that game. It's the weirdest fucking Kickstarter video. It's just so bizarre. Like, I wish you could hear what these ladies are saying because it's just so crazy.
So are these guys based here?
I don't know.
Because it really does look a lot like Wonko's.
It could be. I mean, if they're BioWare folks, they could be from BioWare Austin.
Right.
You know, I'm not sure.
I could be wrong.
Maybe. Or let's see, I don't know. I'll have to take a look. Anyway, they haven't actually put out anything. I'm kind of, especially this week, kind of leery anymore about. I'm starting to get leerier and leerier about Kickstarters.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm hoping that. I'm trying to decide if these guys are in Austin. Oh yeah, so 8 years of experience with BioWare, Star Wars: The Old Republic. Yeah, I'd be willing to bet that these guys are all in Austin. Anyway, I think it's interesting, and people should check it out. If it's a Soul Styles game made by BioWare people that know what they're doing, great. Okay, now we're really getting into super high gear here. Guess what? There's a new expansion for World of Warcraft.
Yay.
Looks good. Fallout 4 is going to have no level cap. Lionhead isn't charging for Fable Legends because it's an experiment, and they're like, we decided it should be free to play. That sounds like horseshit to me. There's been plenty of experiments that they charge you $60 for. You just want your free to play.
What, like what was it, Deity?
I don't know. Deity?
The one where you were a god.
Oh, well, Black and White. Goddess?
That's the one. Yeah, Black and White.
Okay, yeah. Well, that's Peter Molyneux. Peter Molyneux charge you for anything. Peter Molyneux don't give a fuck. All right. Actually, I probably should have put this stuff back a little bit before, but we'll just go down the list the way that I've got it. Final Fantasy VII, this is something I'm going to pause for just a second. The Final Fantasy VII remake that they announced at E3 it came out, and they said that they're going to be making changes to the way that the combat works in Final Fantasy VII. I think that's a good thing because I don't want to replay Final Fantasy VII just exactly the same way that it was.
New.
Right. But I can definitely see the perspective of purists who are like, I do want to play Final Fantasy VII the same way it was. I just want it to look way better.
Well, you're talking about your battlefront and on the ground and in the air. Why not have an option of which battle system you want to use?
I get the feeling that the amount of time that they'll probably be putting into this, that I don't know, that I just, you say that and my brain tries to put that and Square Enix in the same sentence. It just doesn't work. It's like, oh yeah, well, what if Square was reasonable? It gave everybody what they wanted. It's like, well, then it wouldn't be Square. It'd be somebody else. I'm actually really interested to hear from the audience what they think about this. Wrapping up, I was going to go over this, but it's something that's a longer conversation. Mighty Number 9 got pushed back to 2016, and they kind of delayed that news until after the Red Ash Kickstarter was over, which was kind of a debacle because they announced that Red Ash got full funding from a Chinese company before their Kickstarter was done, and then they said that they were going to convert the Kickstarter to just be stretch goals for the game, but then they wouldn't say what the stretch goals were. And so they actually had people start to turn around and start pulling money back out of their Kickstarter.
Yeah, no, because it's starting to sound shady.
Well, plus, okay, and this is something I've chimed in on before, but you can say this. So I don't know if you know about this, but Red Ash was from Concept, the guys that are making Mighty Number 9, and so they started this Kickstarter before Mighty Number 9 is finished and out, which was a big issue to a lot of people. That like you should finish your game before you start
a new kick.
Start pimping out something else.
Oh, absolutely.
Because this is going to be like a spiritual successor to like Mega Man Legends, right?
Okay.
Like Mighty Number 9 is for Mega Man. This is going to be for Mega Man Legends. So you because I could kind of make a case, I think, for why you could maybe start up another development if you're in
because of pipelining.
Right. Well, if you're in the feature complete stage and all you're doing is like bug bashing and like getting the last things together, great. But if you're still in beta, if you haven't gone like feature complete yet, then doing a Kickstarter in that time seems a little scumbaggy. But then the other thing is that I really agree with people who are like, if you halfway through your campaign convert this to not what it takes to fund the game, but to overflow for stretch goals, you need to tell us what those stretch goals are going to be.
No, there has to be transparency.
And I just feel like, I mean, I guess I just watched Jimquisition about that, where it was kind of like, I really don't want the whole crowdfunding thing to start to sour, but I'm hoping it doesn't. But
okay, so part of the issue with that is by having pipeline development, and it's not unreasonable. But at that point, you need investors. You don't need crowdfunding.
Yeah,
like you need to be an actual corporation to do that sort of thing.
Yeah,
and this it's a little shady.
Yeah, I agree. All right, so 2 more and then we're done. This is good news, or I don't know, maybe good news. So apparently with the next Destiny expansion, one of the things that they're doing is they're replacing the voice of the Ghost Robot from Peter Dinklage to Nolan North. And then part of that is that Nolan North is coming in to re-record all of the dialogue that Peter Dinklage had in the game, to the point where retroactively, after this comes out, you're going to be able to go all the way back to the beginning and play the entire game with Nolan North and not Peter Dinklage.
Was there Dinkle hate or something?
Yeah. Have you obviously haven't played Destiny.
No.
He's like your little robot that follows you around. He's kind of like the narrator to your stories. He's telling you what you're doing, et cetera, et cetera.
Okay.
He sounds utterly bored. He just sounds
probably is
so crazy bored. Well, what it sounds like almost is that the people that were directing him were like, well, you're a robot, so you don't have any emotions, so make sure that you're doing it kind of like flat without emotions and blah, blah. But then what that came out with was, it just like the beta came out and everybody was just like, he sounds really bored. So they went back in and they added a bunch of like beep boop beep boop. Like he'd be like, well, Guardian, we're going to the next temple now. Beep boop beep boop boop. Right, to try to kind of like
spice it up. Yeah,
yeah. But I'm kind of glad because Nolan North is a goddamn professional and he'll get some shit done. So, good Lord. All right, last one. So for those of you who never got a chance to play the playable trailer, aka PT, this crazy guy, I actually read the Gama Sutra article where it talked about how this guy did this stuff, went back and recreated the hallway from PT in Unity down to some pretty specific details. Like it talked about him sharing gameplay clips off of his PlayStation 4 to be able to rip the audio out to use as the audio for this. So this is a free Unity thing, and it's not exactly the same as the PT demo. You don't go around in circles. Did you ever play the PT demo?
No.
Okay. Well, I've got it. You should play it sometime. But for all those of you who didn't have a PlayStation 4 and never got a chance, this thing's totally free. Download it. Give it a look. Also, it's worth mentioning that in all of the Metal Gear stuff, they have like these custom logos, and the custom logo that they were using was a circle with a spider in it and PT on the bottom right-hand corner, and it was just like, Oh, I also, I forgot to bring this one up, but it's perfect for the end because this is where we put the fuck you news. So Konami has a trailer for the new, for a Silent Hill thing. And it's a pachinko machine.
Nice.
And it's like a Silent Hill 2, it seems like, themed pachinko machine where there's like I don't know. It's so weird. You guys got to go watch this trailer. It's just fucking, it's mind-bending.
If they put Norman Reedus on it, Sarah would still buy it.
I know. Yeah, I know. but no, it's more just like they took the grainiest version of the cutscenes from Silent Hill 2 and then put eyeball pachinko on top of it. I don't know. It's frustrating. Anyway, we're going to take a break, but we've run like super long on this first part, so we're probably only going to do like half as many emails as we normally do. mail@rageselect.com is the email address if you want to send in your emails. Stay tuned. We will be back momentarily. All right, and we are back.
Hey-o.
Joe, are you ready to dispense some wisdom?
I feel it's about time.
Are you ready? You ready?
Yeah.
Tell the people what you think, how you feel.
Yeah. Wide front to back.
This is the part where the internet gets to learn just how wrong I am about everything.
Oh,
That's
sweet.
this part of the show, right?
Can I be wrong too?
Sure. Oh, yeah. The more the merrier,
All
man.
right.
Hey, take some of the heat off me. Mail@rageselect.com is the email address. That's mail@rageselect.com. If we don't answer your question, send it in again until we do. Just pester us. And I don't know. We used to have this one guy who sent in the same question pretty much every week. And I finally answered it because he asked this question. And I was just like, I don't know. And then finally I was just like, all right, well, let's just answer it and say, I don't know. But our first question this week, and we're actually going to do a little bit fewer than normal because we went so goddamn long on that news, is from Daniel. And Daniel says, "Hey, Rage Masters, got a question that requires some setup. I'm curious what your views are on continuity in games. Most of the time, these big story-heavy franchises, they will tie the plots of each game into a unitary arc. Okay, that sounds like some kind of weird
Religion.
That's level 5 of Scientology, right? But of course, some franchises were not built for that. Do we really have to go over how fucking convoluted and nonsensical the Zelda canon is? However, I noticed that continuity is a major issue with fans when developers reboot a franchise or several games are placed in the past of a canon universe. We're getting to a point where some of these have the possibility of overriding past canon. It's easy to say, who the fuck cares about continuity or canon? But when I see games like DMC fail because of fan outrage or other projects get tarnished for messing with the cherished lore or canon of the franchise, it does seem like it is a pressing issue to at least discuss. Where do you fall on the importance of canon and continuity? Is it something that's important to you with these franchises, or should it not be important at all? Specifically to Jeff, would you be super pissed if MGS5 overrode the canonical events of Metal Gear 1 or not? Apologies for the long-ass email, Daniel. How do you feel about continuity, Joe?
I feel it's case-by-case basis.
Okay, that sounds. It's kind of what I was thinking myself. Is sometimes it's important. Like we were actually just talking about the way that I don't think Metal Gear, and so. You know, when you say like a game franchise is your favorite game franchise, everybody expects you to have like thoroughly encyclopedic knowledge about it. I feel like Metal Gear though has never like super retconned its storyline. Like even when they had to pull these like ridiculous jumps in logic and double crosses to make things make sense, they at least tried, as opposed to. I mean, I think Zelda's a great example of just like, whatever. Or Castlevania has a fucking horrifically convoluted canon. I don't know. I kind of think that I'm willing to give a lot of that stuff a pass as long as it's fun and well written, right?
Yeah, I think if it serves the experience for more than just cash grab, the reawakening.
Yeah.
You know, as long as it's not that, I don't really care.
I think that probably my biggest problem, what I consider to be one of the more egregious problems with continuity canon, is I fucking hate prequels. I really do. Because especially when your prequel comes after the game has come out, and it's like, well, but you have to make all the weapons better and make the combat systems better, and so it doesn't make any sense that it was so much better here. I mean, just the Star Wars prequels, just everything was like awesome, and then now it's all like 1970, and I don't know. I don't buy your whole like, well, the Clone Wars fucked everything up. That's cop out.
Midichlorians.
Is that what it is? Was it the midichlorians? I'm trying to think of gaming examples of prequels that really jerked up the rest of the storyline.
Oh man, the prequel to Drake of the 99 Dragons. Whew. That just ruined everything.
Oh, Drake of the 98 Dragons.
Yeah,
that's what
yeah,
you're talking about. Okay. That's why I like having you on this show, Joe, because you say things, and I'm like, oh, yeah, I remember that horrible piece of shit. Or actually, I remember it. I never played it.
Oh no, that's I'm one of the few people on the planet that actually beat the game.
Uh-huh. Was it bad?
Oh yeah, well, I mean, it was fundamentally broken.
Oh, okay.
So it really was a matter of luck of being able to finish it.
Okay, all right. Yeah, prequels. Can't think of any, but I don't know. I mean, I'm willing to forgive a lot if a thing has a good story. That's really where I come down to it. Is I'm a sucker for a good story, and so if you screw up the canon, I mean, for fuck's sake, we were watching that Metal Gear Solid 5 trailer, right? And they're sucking dudes up into wormholes, right? Like the next game in the but yet rations are still the way that we're getting health back, and everybody's still just got regular old machine guns.
Yeah,
I mean, there was a previous trailer where Big Boss is riding like a miniature Metal Gear mech into a base and blowing it up, and it's just like, why wouldn't you do that all the time? Why would you bring the dog or the horse with you when you could bring the mech with the missiles and lasers and shit on it? Right?
Yeah, get the laser beam contact lenses.
Exactly. So yeah, I just thought of one. Arkham Origins.
Okay.
Arkham Origins really pissed me off, and I think that it pissed me off a lot because of exactly what Daniel's talking about here. Is that like, did you play Arkham Origins?
Yep.
Okay.
Actually, I was playing it until I got Borderlands the pre-sequel on sale.
Oh, okay. One of the things in that is that the tonal differences in both, and if you haven't played Arkham Origins, maybe skip forward a little bit because spoilers, right? But the tonal differences in both the character of the Joker and then the links they have to go through with Bane to make
that was weird.
Their weird Tom Hardy Bane back into the actual Bane from Arkham, City, right? Was just like a huge, like it was almost like, did you really need to write this Bane army thing that badly?
Yeah.
That you then had to go to this, like, well, he's going to turn into the Hulk and become stupid, and then when he comes back down again, I guess he's going to, like, forget everything. And then the fact that the Joker was so much like the animated Red Hood Dark Joker, right, as opposed to your Mark Hamill Joker.
That's
right. Was such a weird thing where it felt like that was one of those ones with a prequel where it was just like, you guys are crowbarring all this shit in here, and I don't know why. Like, it doesn't seem like those story beats couldn't have worked if you were just a little bit more respectful to the fact that Arkham Asylum actually already has a lot of that stuff set up. It seems like you could have worked around that. And maybe part of, like, the Joker stuff was just the fact that they couldn't get Hamill to come in and do, which I don't even understand how. I mean, didn't you just, you're like, hey, Mark, I got a free bag of Cheetos over here. Just come do the Joker again. 'Cause that motherfucker's been saying, like, I'll never voice the Joker again for the last, 10 years?
Yeah, but now he's back.
Yeah, he just keeps doing it, and, whatever. Yeah, that one really aggravated me.
Hashtag my Joker.
Yeah, Mark Hamill. I'm willing to entertain. Hey, man, that Jared Leto in the Suicide Squad trailer. I mean, I'm willing to entertain other people as Joker. I mean, Mark Hamill's still my favorite, but the fact that he was never able, that he never could and probably never will be able to be a live action Joker.
Right.
Actually, you know what, man? Okay, after watching the first 10 minutes of Ant-Man and seeing them make Michael Douglas into 20-year-old Michael Douglas,
yeah,
can't you just make Mark Hamill into skinny Luke Skywalker Joker Mark Hamill?
Yeah, like Tron Legacy, that shit.
No, not that. That was the worst. No,
I'm
Tron
talking
Legacy.
about the technology.
Okay, not the creepy ass fucking the digital dude that was just it was so. I don't know. At this point, I'd be willing to settle if they could just digitally make Jeff Bridges' dialogue understandable, because I don't know who sewed all those marbles in his mouth or why he continues to have them there.
That was called gravitas.
Oh, okay. Is that he just did that in True Grit and everybody was like, I love it? And he's like, well, I'm going to talk like this for...
I guess I'm
not going to open my mouth for the rest of my career. I seriously, I can't remember what the last thing I saw him in was, but I was struggling. Oh no, it was that dumb that medieval Seventh Son, right?
Oh yeah.
And it was like watching Shakespeare Old English, where it took me like 20 minutes until my brain was able to reconfigure to understand what he was saying. Like I wanted to turn on subtitles just to be like, what is he saying? I don't understand. Just yeah. I'm trying to think of any other prequels that I don't know that I care as much. I never played Halo Reach, right? That was
I did, and
I mean, it didn't
it's
do
a
any
Halo game, so like, what damage is it going to do?
right. I mean, I know there was a story there, but the story was so far removed from Halo 1, right, that it was. I mean, that's the way that I feel like you should do a prequel, right? Is do it so far in the past that it's not going to affect the first one. And actually, though, the Zelda thing is a good point because that does kind of. I'll tell you what pisses me off more than retconning or more than dicking with the continuity. Is when they go to all the trouble of dicking with the continuity and then never mention it again. Yeah, like the what was the
well with Zelda? My thing is like, okay, the overarching storyline. What the shit are you getting at?
Yeah,
like where's the payoff in this?
I hated the actual gameplay of Skyward Sword. Did you ever play Skyward Sword, the Wii one? But like the whole premise of Skyward Sword was that it took place a long time ago and was the beginning of the kind of Link, Zelda, Ganon relationship.
The eternal recurrence sort of thing.
Right, right. And that was the setup for why this is a thing that continues to happen over and over again through all the different games and stuff. I was like, hey, that's great. I really wish that for my money, I really wish that Nintendo would take some of these properties and make some radical changes. Like I'd love to see, like that's one of the things that I really liked. Did you ever play I mean, you're talking about liking Dynasty Warriors. Did you play Hyrule Warriors? The Zelda Dynasty Warriors? Okay, well, again, skip forward if you want to be surprised, but one of the most interesting things about that was that it was like Zelda multiverse, where like in the beginning these portals opened up and characters from a bunch of the different Zelda games all came into this one world to have their Crisis and Infinite Zeldas. And I was like, that's a great idea, right? That's a wonderful way to have fan service, but tie it into the plot and to give everybody a little their favorite Zelda game, right? And I wish they would do more like that. I want them to make a Mario game where you play as Bowser. I really do. That's what I want. Fucking poor Bowser. He's just the
Bowser Chronicles.
Yeah, exactly. Or a Metroid game where Metroid is such a big game with a big universe. It's like just do something besides Samus goes to a planet and fights Ridley for the 16th time.
Yeah, be one of the bird race that gave her the power armor and
the Chozo.
Like, oh god, she came back and it's busted up again.
Yep. All right, well, our next one comes in from Austin, who says, hello, Jeff and Joe. As we all know, companies love to bank off of gamers' nostalgia. Recently, Microsoft has been trying to push these buttons by putting Battletoads and Shovel Knight and in Killer Instinct. Even though any sane gamer looks back on Battletoads with disgust, I don't know about that, Austin. Microsoft still thinks they can bank off of their comeback. So my question is, what is a retro game that most people don't remember too fondly that you would like to see come to the modern era, and how could the developers make it work? I also wanted to just say thank you for all the content recently. The past few weeks of videos have been absolutely amazing. Down to 4 more semesters of college left till I get my master's. And this coming semester, I have 23 credits, so I probably won't be able to keep up with every video, but I'm still planning on giving on Patreon, and hopefully you guys are still around in a few years, so I have a chance to give you more than a measly $5 a month. Keep doing what you're doing, Austin. Austin, you don't have to. If everybody in the world if every person on this planet just gave us $5 a month, we would be fine.
Yeah.
I'd have enough to buy like 4 games a week, right?
And I'd have enough for that gold yacht I've always been looking at.
Exactly.
It's really the buoyant system.
Man,
if
it's one of these common misconceptions is that Patreon does this thing where when you go to our Patreon page, it says like X number of dollars per video. Mm-hmm. That X number of dollars represents like the most we can get for any one video. So I think that right now it says something like $986 per video. And people are like, well, why are you guys asking us for money? You get $986 per video. And it's like, bitch, if I was getting $30,000 a month, we'd have an office building and have 5 videos a day and be going after IGN for like their shit, right?
And we have our own laser tag court.
Oh, absolutely. That goes. No. Oh, wait. Hold on, Joe. Photon, please. We're a photon site, not laser, not hoity-toity rich kid laser tag. We're good old-fashioned photon.
Back in the old days in El Paso, I saw many a stabbing at the Photon.
Okay, well, that's why. That's why, right?
Yeah.
Where else? What other light gun system is going to?
Well, that was radio wave, I thought.
Fulfill. Oh, I don't know. Do you know how photon works?
Yes, I do.
Oh, well, I don't. Obviously. Anyway, Austin, what franchise would you like? What retro game would you like to drag up and make a current iteration of? That's a good question. There's a lot of them.
I've got one, but
Okay.
they tried and then they scrapped it, which was Full Throttle.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I could almost say that I could see in another 2 or 3 years Telltale picking that up. I mean, they already did Monkey Island and Sam & Max, right? So,
well, it looked like what they were going to do was just more of a 3D adventure kind of thing.
mm-hmm.
Which okay, whatever. I think part of it was just of its time with the cheesy metal and we hadn't really seen a return to like Mad Max absurdity, like Wasteland sort of thing.
Yeah. No, it was
And Mark Hamill.
And Mark Hamill, yeah. And I can understand because they created a really interesting universe.
Yes.
Made one game in it that everybody loves, and then it's just like, nope. I mean, I'm going to say right now, pretty much anything outside of Monkey Island and Sam & Max, like Grim Fandango, I would play a new Grim Fandango if you wanted to do that, as long as you got the right people to write it, because that's a really interesting universe. I was actually, the things that came to mind for me were a few old PC games. Like, I really would like to see a new Bioforge game because that's the only game I know of where you can stab somebody to death with a fork if you try hard enough. Also, there's a couple of old Looking Glass. Well, let's see. Terra Nova Strike Force Centauri is a Looking Glass game that just got put on Steam that I absolutely, totally loved back in the old days, where you just drive these little mechs around and do stuff. And then I talk all the time about, there's an old PC game called Hostile Waters Antaeus Rising that was like a RTS, but you could jump into any of the units and then drive them around. And it was all like all this voiceover stuff where they went and got like Tom Baker to do the voiceover as the narrator, and Warren Ellis wrote the entire game story. It's an incredible game. I don't really know anybody who's played it.
It's news to me.
Yeah, no, it's on Good Old Games and Steam, and if you can stand a little bit of horrible old PC stuff, I think it's a really, really fun game. I think of other like old school franchises.
As an aside, I still have my original Full Throttle Can't Beat a Corley T-shirt.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I haven't worn it in about 10 years because I don't want it to fall apart.
Yeah.
My plan is to like chop it up, scan it, and then just be able to make new shirts.
Okay.
But not for sale because that would be wrong.
Right. Well, yeah, obviously not. You don't want to start an Etsy store that then gets shut down after 6 months and you've made a whole bunch of money. That would be ridiculous. Yeah, I don't know. I think there's plenty of stuff out there. Like, I was really glad to hear a couple weeks ago that that they're making or that they're at least making an HD version of that old PC Battlezone game that's like a on the moon Cold War thing. I'm trying to think of like PS2 titles that I really like. The problem right now is that everything old is new again, and so a lot of that stuff is actually getting remakes or reboots. Like Final Fantasy VII. Oh no, I know. I've said this for a while. There is an HD version of every single Metal Gear game except for Metal Gear Solid 1. And I really wish that they would go back and take one of their newer engines and just not Twin Snakes, not that stupid shit. Just take the original Metal Gear, slap all the audio into a new engine, and maybe add a little bit to it, and
and find out if love can blossom on the battlefield.
I'm pretty sure it can. I mean, unless you're too much of a pussy to keep jamming on the X button when you're getting electrocuted, then you deserve to fail. Obviously. Well, thank you very much, Austin. All right, our next question. Well, this is more of somebody has a bone to pick with me. So,
all right.
Yeah. In fact, it says, I have a bone to pick with you, Jeff, is the subject line.
Get him.
Bill says, Dear Jeff, I really enjoyed the most recent Ragecast. where you argued the greatest video game of all time. However, I take issue with one of the arguments you used against Mr. Murphy in the finals, in which you faulted Red Dead Redemption for being too similar to previous Rockstar games like Grand Theft Auto. However, the very game you were championing is nothing more than a more polished version of Demon's Souls. I was talking about Dark Souls. The very things you attributed to Dark Souls, such as innovative dark fantasy story, clever, intricate combat, and with rewarding customization and helpful community-based multiplayer, were all alive and well in Demon's Souls. So how do you rationalize giving poor Demon's Souls the shaft as the greatest video game of all time when it did most of the heavy lifting for its successor, Bill? And he says, P.S. I would love to argue with you as to why Metal Gear Solid 2 is superior to Metal Gear Solid 3. Well, you would lose that, Bill, because Metal Gear Solid 2 is okay, but does not hold a candle to Snake Eater. So, or I don't know. Joe disagrees with you. You were telling me earlier that Metal Gear Solid 3 was where you checked out, right?
Yeah, I was just like, all right, I got laundry to do.
Yep, I can understand it. So we were having these debates, right? And I went up against one of our fans on Skyrim. It was Skyrim versus Dark Souls.
Okay.
And I was championing Dark Souls, and I kind of won that one, right? Jason's favorite video game is well documented as being Red Dead Redemption. So him and I at the end kind of went head to head about that, and I was like, Red Dead Redemption, it's a great game, but it's not doing anything that much different than Grand Theft Auto outside of slow motion and horses, right?
Jason also wants to be cowboy, yeah?
Well, yes, obviously. And I guess by default that means I want to be dark fantasy and die a lot. But what do you think about that? What do you think about the idea that trying to say Red Dead is just Grand Theft Auto with horses isn't a very valid point because Dark Souls is just Demon Souls?
I do kind of agree. Just the on the shoulders of giants kind of argument.
Sure.
You know, it kind of got you there. People had been wanting that sort of thing, just kind of like how Assassin's Creed Black Sails is like, finally, that's what we want. We want piratey assassins. And
right.
It's working off of previous stuff.
Yeah.
I think as long as it could stand alone by itself, even if it did borrow from something else. And I know it sounds kind of oxymoronic what I'm saying here, but what I'm saying is, in the end, if the final product doesn't make you yearn for what inspired it, but you're satisfied with that final product, then fine, go for it.
Well, so for my money, I won't sit here and say that. I mean, I think Demon's Souls is a great game. Mm-hmm. I think that Dark Souls just did a lot to. It was like Demon's Souls was like 85%, and the Dark Souls was like 100%.
Yeah,
like,
it went the rest of the race.
Like, okay, well, I'll say right now, magic in Demon's Souls kind of breaks Demon's Souls. You can kind of just waltz through that game. They also alleviated the fact that you could just grind for healing items to just kind of bully your way through some areas of the game. And I think that having the world be fully connected instead of having the like 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 3, the pillars in Demon's Souls. Also, I think that world tendency in Demon's Souls is really interesting. I think that at the end of the day, though, it's a real bitch for newcomers to that game because you don't know what you're doing, and then suddenly the game gets harder, and you don't know why. Already a very hard game starts to get harder, and you're just like, what is going on here? And it's because, oh, well, did you go out into the world with being fully human and then die? Oh, well, you stupid asshole. Why did you do that? Why didn't you just suicide in the Nexus where, you don't lose any world tendency? I definitely think that but I don't think Dark Souls is as much like Demon's Souls as Red Dead is like Grand Theft Auto. I think that there was a lot of refining that was done. Oh, I don't know. Maybe you got a full on point. I just like Dark Souls an awful lot. And also maybe worth mentioning that out of those 3 games, Dark Souls is the only one that has a PC release. So Dark Souls tends to hold up better for me because I can play it with some graphics mods and it just looks beautiful on the PC. Why? I know. We've been over this over and over again. Why, Rockstar? Why won't you put Red Dead out on the PC where we can mod it, or we can do all kinds of crazy shit with it? High-res texture packs, let the community fix all the lighting engines and make it look like Grand Theft Auto 5. Why?
It might have been because during Vice City, the mod, so you could use the Batmobile.
Uh-huh.
Maybe they don't want a Batmobile horse.
Dude, did you see there was a video last week of somebody who modded the PC version of Arkham Knight so that you could play as Alfred. So it was all of the combat in Arkham Knight, except that it was just Alfred in his suit, the model from the game, doing these flip kicks and like punching people.
Yeah, but you knew Pennyworth could do that.
Absolutely. Motherfucker's he's a bad motherfucker. I don't care which one. Michael Caine, whoever. All right. Let's stop that real fast. All right, next up, we got one from another Daniel who says, "Greetings, Jeff and other host, blah, 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 dongs and all that. Here we go. I've always subscribed to the Jeff philosophy of never getting overhyped and never pre-ordering a game you know nothing about. Good policy. However, I just saw the trailer for Mafia 3 this morning, and now I have an erection lasting more than 4 hours.
Sir, you go to a doctor for priapism.
Yes. To me, a game that shows unadulterated racism while simultaneously highlighting the diverse group that bands together in spite of this has never felt more relevant, and using 1968 New Orleans juxtaposes with the issues facing America today. How do you think this game will tackle such a touchy subject while not alienating its demographic and hopefully avoid breaching into an exploitative narrative? Look forward to your wisdom and jismy insight." Great. Daniel. Thank you, Daniel. Thank you. Everybody who comes onto the show has to deal with the Dong Lord.
Yeah, I was unawares.
Yeah, that's the patron deity of Rage Select. So everybody has to hail to the Dongacles when they write in. I get the feeling that it's probably, I don't know. I mean, when we watched that trailer, like, there was a fair amount of, like, explicit, like, that there's, like, and you weren't hearing the dialogue from the main character, but what he was saying was he was like, he had this kind of like monologue talking about how the mob, you don't know anything about family. Like, I went to Vietnam and found my family, and then I came back to my actual family, and that you guys use this word, but you don't really know what it means, and now I'm going to show you what it means, right? And then we're going to cut your throat and feed you to alligators in a swamp. I don't know. I mean, I think that as long as they're smart about it.
Yeah, I mean, I think the real thing is, one, to not be cloying, two, don't be patronizing, and three, make sure you're very aware of what message you want to get across.
Yes, absolutely. I don't know. I'm pretty solidly in the camp of like, there's a lot of stories and there's a lot of discussion online. There's a lot of things that come out all the time about. Even when we're talking about that Kickstarter, right? Like the number of women that are in video games, right? Of like female protagonists in video games. And I feel like we've actually seen a lot of newer female protagonists in video games. And in E3 this year, there was a lot. Recore, there was a game on the Xbox One that's this lady, and, Tomb Raider and all this stuff. And it just feels like there's more women in there. What there aren't that many of, though, still is African-American protagonists, right? Like, I remember, I'm trying to think outside of games where you can choose your own, you can build your own character. I always remember James Heller in Prototype 2, but I'm so angry.
Well, San Andreas, although that's a bit older.
Yeah.
Or Crackdown 3.
Oh, yeah, Crackdown 3. Yep. It's good call. But I'm just, I'm all for it. I've said it before, I'll say it again. I think we've got enough partially shaven white dudes in video games.
Well, yeah. So, the logical part of me, and it's not just video games, but just like, no, we need more roles that represent this, that, or the other. The logical part is like, well, we're a post-racial society, so it shouldn't matter. But like, it's not over.
No,
Yeah, we don't live in one.
No,
so.
I agree. No, I think that particular backdrop sets you up for a lot of interesting stuff. I thought that it was interesting. Did you ever play Assassin's Creed Liberation?
No.
That game was interesting because it tied the whole like assassins and freedom of people into slavery in the South during that time period. But it never really did all that much with it. It was more just kind of like a backstory for the main character. So I'd like to see them to do some stuff with that, but I'm also real worried because it seems like the sort of thing that would take a real deft touch, right?
Yeah.
Is it'd be real easy to just make it a cartoon, like he's saying, or to mention it briefly, to essentially make it the equivalent of the girlfriend in the fridge, right? Of just like, your family got killed, and that I don't know. It's weird. Just don't know. I'm trying to think of a game that's dealt with race in a respectful, interesting, and thoughtful fashion. I'm having
it's almost too late for They Live video games. So.
Yeah, there was that one terrible one about the woman cleaning the guy's apartment. I don't remember what that one was, but it was apparently not that great. I don't know. I think it could be done, Daniel. I don't think that Mafia 3. I hope it's the game to do it, but I don't think it's going to be. All right, so we got one more question here, and this one comes in from Don. And Don has a much more general question. John says, "Hello, Jeff and Joe. My question is, are there any celebrities that the general public, and maybe you, recognize as being incredibly hot, but you are not attracted to them for whatever reason? I can think of 2 right now, Kate Upton and Scarlett Johansson. Peace, Don from Richmond Hill, New York." Oh, Don's giving us, directions to his house and shit.
Yeah.
All right, Don, we'll be by. I'm gonna come up this weekend. Need a place to stay.
We're gonna drink some beers and talk about people that we are not sexually attracted to. It sounds like a great time.
Yeah. Just 3 dudes sitting around talking about.
Sofia Vergara's ass. It's got all sorts of dimensions, but I could just do without it.
I know. No, it doesn't really do anything for me. I don't know. I think the opposite is kind of true for me. Is that the Hollywood is just filled with super attractive people, and I can definitely look at those attractive people and be like, they're very attractive, but I've never really been the kind of person just be like, oh yeah, when is Scarlett Johansson coming to my house?
Yeah,
right?
I've got no expectations.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know them as a person.
Trying to think if there's anybody that I can think of that Hollywood. The thing is that I can tell that I'm getting older because they'll say. It's taken me up until I think True Detective season 2 to understand. I don't even remember her fucking name. The woman that's in there, she was in Mean Girls and Sherlock Holmes. What's her name?
I don't remember.
See, exactly. What the hell is her name? I should be able to remember it.
Well, while you're figuring that out, I do know one, and she was in the Fantastic Four. Kate Mara. I get it, but it's just not for me.
Who's Kate Mara?
Yeah, exactly.
Rachel McAdams. She seems like a great actress, and she's real nice to look at. But she seems like eminently forgettable. My brain just won't remember her. It's just I don't know. Kate Mara, huh?
She was she was Susan Storm in Fantastic Four.
I know exactly who you're talking about. Yeah, she was in House of Cards.
Yeah.
She keeps showing up. She was in that dumb Johnny Depp movie where he turns into a robot.
Yep.
Where she's and the thing is that she even has a kind of her face has dimensions that are not just generic, right?
Right.
But that, every time she shows up, I'm just like, hey, it's her. It's like it's like the way that Hank Azaria was for me for a decade, where I'm just like, hey, it's that guy. Hey, that guy.
Yeah, and the thing is, I don't hate her. I have no ill will towards her yet.
Yeah.
I just I get it. I don't get it.
Yeah. Well, it also feels like Hollywood has become, if you're young and skinny and your face is fairly symmetrical, that Hollywood will
You'll get a role.
Slather a bunch of makeup on you, curl your hair, and then boom, you're good to go. So I don't necessarily think that there's anybody in Hollywood who's not attractive, but I don't know. That's not the sort of thing where I'm just like, oh yeah, that chick's gonna be in that movie. All right, bro, she's so fucking hot. Did you hear she takes her top off?
We're gonna get some titties.
Exactly. Yeah. I've never. Okay, and just for saying being on the show, so you probably haven't talked to you about this, but I just do not understand. We talk about nudity and sex in video games, and people are like, oh, it's lascivious, it's exploitative, it's whatever, and it's just do you know how much porno there is on my phone? I don't need to go to video games to see boobs. I could type boobs into Google with image safe search turned off and get 500,000 direct images right there immediately. I mean, half of them will probably be man boobs, but
But them's the chances.
Yeah, but I just keep wondering to myself, it's what exactly are people getting out of video games that what are people getting out of Dead or Alive beach volleyball? There's legitimate porno that you can watch right now.
But I will defend the first Dead or Alive beach volleyball because it was a great volleyball game.
Okay, well, that's what I hear.
It was
actually a pretty good volleyball game. But
yeah, 2 made me cry because it was awful.
Because your expectations had been buoyed up by Dead or Alive beach volleyball 1?
Yeah,
you're like, man.
I'm here to do 2 things. Play really great beach volleyball and buy really cute bikinis. That is it.
Okay. All right. Well, you know what? That is all the time that we have. We've already gone. I think that we're going to end up right at around 2 hours. We got fewer questions than we normally do in a week, and we had a slightly less to choose from. So get your questions in. You want to hear me read your name and make fun of your grammar on the show? Send a question to mail@rageselect.com. Joe, you want to tell people where they can find you?
Well, I'm going to be hiding from Kate Mara's stare because she's on the screen right now. And
she's
really
there's like 4 of
me
her,
out.
And they're all every picture of Kate Mara is just her looking directly into the camera, ready to judge you. So
yeah, but you can find me at zebrasundesign.com or joebrower.us, not .com, because that dude is crazy.
Oh, okay, cool. Did you know that there's only one place where Rage Select doesn't own the words Rage Select on the internet? I got it for YouTube, got it for Facebook, my website at .com. There's a Rage Select Tumblr that's just some poor guy who runs a video game Tumblr, and I don't know if anybody's like, please, Rage Select fans, don't go irritate this guy now that you know this. Like, just let this poor man have his Tumblr.
And by the way, he's winking while he's saying this, guys.
No, I'm not. My eyes are wide open. I'm holding them open. I'm not winking at all. Anyway, that's our show for this week. Come back next week. Send in your questions. Stay tuned. Thanks for coming by, Joe.
Absolutely.
And we'll see you guys next time.